You know when you're endlessly scrolling through your feed, and it suddenly hits you that there are certain people in your life who are just missing? Like, no selfies, no big vacation photo dumps, totally zero updates on their life milestones. Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're setting the stage for a really fascinating look into the minds of people who actively choose to stay digitally invisible. In a modern world that literally runs on the attention economy, where everybody seems to be shouting, "Hey, look at me!" these quiet folks almost seem like they don't even exist. But as we're going to see, decoding the offline mind reveals some absolutely incredible insights into human psychology.
Okay, so let's just dive right into this. The big, obvious question we have to tackle first is, why are some people just invisible online? Society has pretty much built up this massive assumption that if you aren't posting pictures or sharing updates every day, you've got to be hiding something, right? We kind of just assume these people are super shy, inherently awkward, or maybe just a little bit weird. We've totally equated having a digital presence with living a full life. But what if that entire cultural assumption is just completely backwards?
Well, spoiler alert, choosing to stay offline is definitely not random, and it's for sure not a flaw. Actually, it's a super clear sign of deep emotional intelligence. When you look at the psychological analysis, this behavior is a highly strategic, grounded choice. It reveals a huge amount about a person's inner confidence, their mindset, and really their overall emotional maturity. Let's unpack exactly how this works.
Section 1. Valuing privacy over popularity. We so often mislabel these quiet individuals as antisocial. We just assume they fear or want to avoid society altogether. But in reality, they simply possess a really high privacy orientation. They aren't hiding away in a dark basement. They actually have super active social lives. They go out, they have a ton of fun. The critical difference is that they actively protect their mental space. Think about it. They just don't feel the need to broadcast their weekend plans to 100 random acquaintances just to feel good about what they did. While most of the world is frantically chasing validation through this endless barrage of likes and views, these folks are perfectly content just enjoying the moment, without having to perform it for an audience.
Section 2. The Roots of Emotional Intelligence.
So this kind of inner security actually stems from a really powerful psychological concept called self-concept clarity. Basically, it means knowing exactly who you are, what your values are, and what your goals are, totally independent of any external approval. People who share way less online naturally possess a ton of this clarity. And because they already know exactly who they are and what truly matters to them, they're just far less likely to chase after fleeting internet trends. They don't feel that exhausting urge to constantly morph their identity to fit a specific aesthetic, or compare themselves to the heavily curated lives of influencers. They are totally anchored in reality.
But that brings up a really interesting point. If they aren't getting that quick hit of dopamine from social media likes, or scrolling through a stream of flattering comments, where does their happiness actually come from? Think about that for a second. If you completely strip away the digital applause, what's left? Well, for these individuals, the answer is pretty profound. Their happiness comes entirely from within.
People who post less often exhibit what psychologists call secure self-esteem. They rely entirely on self-validation. And because of this, they're demonstrably less anxious, way less approval-seeking, and just hyper-focused on real-world goals. It's a type of confidence that quite literally does not need external attention to survive. I mean, they don't need to post heavily filtered selfies to prove their worth to people they barely know, simply because they already feel entirely complete. By cultivating this emotional balance that's actually grounded in the physical world, they pursue goals that genuinely matter to their personal growth.
And this ties right into another really fascinating cognitive trait, the internal locus of evaluation. This is the practice of judging yourself strictly by your own internal standards, rather than the shifting, totally unpredictable opinions of the internet. People with this trait tend to be highly introspective, they think really carefully before they speak, and they only share when something genuinely matters to them, not just because they need to feed a hungry algorithm. Because their locus of evaluation is completely internal, they naturally gravitate toward rich, authentic, offline conversations rather than those superficial, transactional interactions we see so much of online.
Section 3. Escaping the digital illusion.
Now, to really understand this digital shield they've put up, we first have to understand the weapon they're defending against, which is social comparison. Psychologists use social comparison theory to describe our deeply human drive to constantly measure our own worth, our success, and even our looks against the curated highlight reels of literally everyone else. People who avoid posting photos deeply intuitively understand this trap. They know exactly how easily social media distorts reality. You always end up comparing your everyday, behind-the-scenes reality with all of its messy, boring, totally normal moments to someone else's heavily edited, perfectly lit peak moments. I mean, think about spending 20 minutes applying the exact perfect filter to a picture of your morning coffee versus just sitting down and actually enjoying the taste of it. That is exactly the difference we were talking about here.
The attention economy creates this endless comparison cycle, and let's be honest, it is absolutely exhausting. It drains your mental energy and it just breeds anxiety. By staying low-key, offline individuals are actively stepping right out of that toxic arena. They are choosing peace over performance. They choose the actual joy of living in the moment over the anxiety of having to prove to everyone that they're living in it. And the benefit to their mental health is massive. They experience far less anxiety and depression purely because they aren't trapped in the game that literally no one can win.
Section 4. The power of silent confidence.
There's this brilliant saying that I think sums the whole thing up perfectly. They don't need to be seen to feel seen. And that is really the ultimate takeaway from all the psychology we've unpacked today. So, the next time you notice that friend or colleague who literally never posts pictures, maybe don't just assume they're socially awkward or hiding away from the world. Recognize that they might actually just be more grounded, way more emotionally intelligent, and vastly more self-aware than the loudest people on your timeline. This mindset is the ultimate form of real, grounded confidence. It's a silent confidence, and honestly, it speaks volumes.
And that leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought to carry with you. Do you judge your worth by your own standards or by public approval? As you go about your week, I challenge you to just reflect a little bit on your own digital habits. Are you posting to share a genuine memory, or are you secretly seeking a little hit of external validation? Embracing even just a little bit of the offline mind might actually be the key to reclaiming your own peace and emotional security. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.